Welcome to the Scott Townsend Show, brought to you by Dietzo Man Productions.
So here I am today with Sam DeWitt. Thanks for joining us, Sam. Sam's a mechanic turned podcaster. Probably still a mechanic, right?
But, yeah.
So thanks for joining the show. We'll start off with my usual question. What did you have for breakfast this morning?
I have not had breakfast this morning. And sadly, the on-call phone is ringing. So hold, please. Of course.
The on-call. You
Sam.
must be on call.
And of course, it's a spam call. What the crap?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's a freaking spam call.
Yeah.
I apologize.
So no breakfast this morning.
No, sir. No breakfast this morning. I rolled out of bed and I had a Dr. Pepper for breakfast. This will be number 2.
Well, so yeah, a good friend of mine, Glenn Hall, reached out, said I should get in touch with you. You know, Glenn, I've been in touch with Glenn.
Yes.
And so based on Glenn's recommendation, I reached out and thought it would be fun to have you on the show and talk about the blue collar aspect of podcasting and kind of what you're doing in that niche, so to speak.
Yep.
Let's start off with, so what's inspired you to start? And I should mention, by the way, that your podcast, the Living the Dream podcast, Living, Livin.
That's right.
The podcast, the Dream podcast. How'd you get started?
So it was me and 2 other guys. We had kind of joked about we were going to start a podcast, and it was basically it was drunk thoughts. And we were like, we should start a podcast. And then it went to the wayside for a while. And then Josiah had come up and he's like, you know what? He goes, let's actually do this. So he went and bought a little microphone. And our first episode, and it's titled The Beginning, is atrocious as far as audio quality goes, because it was one microphone on a dining room table and all of the echo feedback and terrible audio. But
got to start somewhere.
Yeah. So we've and it was just a matter of, we were just talking about, because it was 3 different people from 3 different areas of work. Joe is a journeyman plumber, now a contract plumber. Tegan is a heavy equipment mechanic, and then I'm a CNC technician is my primary talent. So
what's CNC?
Computer numerically controlled. So it's lathes, mills, routers, lasers.
Oh, okay.
Robots, anything along that realms.
Oh, that's cool.
I can probably fix it. Probably.
That's awesome.
Or phone a friend that knows how to fix it.
Yeah. So you started off with 3 guys talking about work, basically.
Your
work.
Yeah, it was our experiences in work. We also had different age ranges. I was the older one of the podcast. They were in their mid to early 20s. So it was also a different different viewpoint in the blue collar realm. It's a different generation. That their outlook on the blue collar community, me being the older one, seeing it as more of the rough and tumble, and I'll beat you into submission and you're going to do the work and it's going to be hard. And then their generation kind of has some of that, but not as much. And so it was a good idea. We didn't really have any focus or didn't really have any idea what we were trying to accomplish. It was more just 3 guys sitting around, dumping on about work and just kind of giving our perspective on things that were going on. So that was how it started. I'm trying to refine and why it's just me now is we ended up moving. So it was a lot harder for us to get together and do it weekly.
Right.
I've gotten some software recently that allows me to be able to reach out, like, kind of like you and I are now.
Right.
It's an option, or else I might have went with it. It's probably cheaper, but
I love the Zoom format. Been doing it for many years now, the last 5 years.
Okay.
And it puts me anywhere, you know. I've interviewed people in Germany and France and Denmark and all over the United States, and I can do it right here sitting, you know.
That's
And
fantastic.
yeah, and so it's been a lot of fun. So would you say that you're uh, up to now your focus now is still blue collar focus, your podcast?
So the podcast is still oriented around
How's it evolved?
so it's still oriented around the blue collar community because it's what I know. But it's kind of grown into more of interviews and trying to get people that are in different trades, different realms, and talk to them about the struggles that they have, leadership things, growth. Some of the podcasts that I've done that were just me, we're talking about my career development, where how I came from an A mechanic to the master mechanic to trying to train myself and grow into a leadership role. So it's just kind of one of those, it's I guess blue collar evolution is what it turned out to be. The name Living the Dream, honestly, the reason we went with it, and we had no idea that there were so many other Living the Dreams out there. We might have chose differently had we known, but because it's been difficult with visibility. So but we chose it because you walk up to somebody and you're like, hey man, how you doing? And their response is living the dream. Like, oh, funny you should say that. I have a podcast that talks about just that. So
Yeah.
it was kind of an icebreaker and an easy social, interaction. Like I had a previous podcast, the last one I put out was, social networking or networking. It's not just social media. So
Right.
the living the dream title itself is an icebreaker. So that was kind of the reason behind the naming of the podcast. And we didn't do any research as to marketability or any of that stuff.
You just launched off and did it.
Yeah, we just dove in and rolled with it, and we're a year, a little over a year and a half into it. I say it's me and the mouse in my pocket now. So
Are you glad you started?
I am. I'm glad that I started. It's been a lot of fun. Uh, I was I'm not going to say an audio engineer, but I ran sound for a church youth group for 10 years, I think it was. And I really enjoyed that aspect, the mixing of it. And that was all live. So there was little opportunity for screw ups and stuff like that. So, that I enjoyed that aspect of it, and I hadn't done it in a long time. And, so I'm really picky about sound quality, how good things sound, how good, does the audio link together, so on and so forth. So I try to, I use this as to kind of scratch that itch.
Yeah, that's awesome. So who do you think when you're doing your podcast, who do you envision? Who's your ideal listener? Who's listening on the other side? Who do you picture tuning in?
So honestly, it's anybody that's touching a tool. If you're wrenching on something, if you're a carpenter, if you're operating a crane, it doesn't matter. If you're going to work clean and coming home dirty, I'd love, I would love for them to be on the other side of the computer screen.
Mm-hmm.
And and the young guys, a lot of my audience is the 25 to 30 range.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of where I've tried to throw in some of the learning aspect of it, because you get into the blue collar trade and you're like, oh, I want to be CEO. Whoa there, killer. You got to, there's some steps you got to go through, and you can be that way.
Right.
There's another, I can't remember the name right offhand, but Blue Collar BS, we'll name drop them. They had a guy on there that he started off as a helper and is now the CEO of a major pipeline company. So, I mean, it's stories like that I want to share that, if you really dive in, put in the work and the effort, you can do anything, but you're not going to be given it, especially in
Right.
the collar community. You're not going to get handed a career. You've got to earn the skills, and the effort has to be put in to get there.
Mm-hmm. What's your biggest surprise so far in starting your podcast? Looking back on it,
The amount of time that
yeah,
that it involves. The
people don't
recording.
realize how much time it really takes.
Oh yeah,
No idea.
the recording. The recording is the easy part, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm good at talking. I don't have a
Mm-hmm.
problem with that. It's the editing and scrutinizing and making sure that you're putting out the best level product that you can, and that takes time. But there are softwares out there. I've got on the shirt here,
Mm-hmm.
Riverside. I found them recently,
Mm-hmm.
and are they helpful? So, for anyone out there wanting to start a podcast, it is it. So, I guess my thing is, there's always the statement, you've got to spend money to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, obviously, I have not hit the make money part yet, but
Neither have
but
I.
right. But I've met some incredible people, and but if you want to put out a quality product, you're going to have to put some money into it. And the Riverside, I think it's like $39 a month or something like that.
Mm.
But it does so much of the editing and makes the editing so much simpler.
Mm.
And
That's
you
interesting.
can go through and refine it and make little changes, and you can full on edit it if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
They have the ability to kind of chop out some of the ums and ahs, and they can because I have a lot of those.
Yeah, we all do.
But the silent moments and stuff like that, it keeps the podcast flowing more, because if you have a lot of dead air or something like that, and then you end up with moments like that, then people lose interest. So
Right.
I'd say the hardest thing about a podcast is keeping someone's attention.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. The time, yeah, I think the rule of thumb is for every hour it takes 3 to 4 hours
I'd say that's pretty accurate.
to edit audio.
Yeah.
And if it's video, it's like for every hour it's 4 to 5 hours. I'm close. I could be getting that wrong, but that's close, and I believe it.
I would say, with my experience, you're accurate.
So if you do an hour podcast, if you do an hour interview, and then you go back and you listen to it once just to get a feel for what happened,
right?
Then you go back and you are looking for the main theme or what's really being said here and what can be cut out. That's another hour at least. Mm-hmm. Then you go back and listen to it again to make sure it all sounds right. And then you hear a mistake or something that you forgot to take out or you left in.
Yep.
So, and then by the time you upload it and create a thumbnail and get your descriptions and transcripts and chapters and all that stuff, yeah, you're way into it.
Yeah.
It's got to be something you really enjoy doing, which I do, thank goodness. But I don't think people appreciate how much time it takes to do one.
No, absolutely. Yeah. When I first started into this, I had no concept, never really thought about it. And then going through and editing even that first podcast I think I probably had 6-7 hours into it, because I was really trying to scrutinize it and make it, the best thing ever.
Right.
So if going back and listening to it now, it hurts my heart to hear it. I mean, from then to now is night and day different.
Right.
And then,
well, you just get better at what you do as you practice it over time. And so you've always got to start off sucking.
Yeah.
Pixar says that when they start their movies, they always start off with the suck. It just sucks. Yeah. But you keep working on it and refine it, and you get it from a Monsters Inc. when it's just horrible. Yeah. But you got to be okay with it being horrible, because you got to start somewhere.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
always got to start that way.
Well, and a lot of the things like I've watched the Unsubscribed podcast, and some of the things that they've talked about on like their journey is it's when you first start out, even with the YouTube, like Matt Carricker's one, that just quantity. It's not about quality. It's getting out there, getting your name out there, and consistency, quality or quantity and consistency, and the quality will come later.
Yeah.
And
Consistency is the one that's hard for me. I mean, I've tried to hit the 1 week mark, and I just, it's a hit or miss kind of a thing. And I've been pretty good at it, but then I just find that to be I find that to be surprisingly for me, that's the most challenging aspect of podcasting is the consistency, because you have to have consistency to build an audience. Because, like if you're watching TV when we were growing up, if you had, I'm going to date myself here, but Hawaii 5-0, comes on at 8 o'clock on Wednesday night.
right.
Well, if they miss that 8 o'clock slot,
Yeah.
and you tune in and it's not there, then you're going to flip the channel to something else.
Right.
So you always have to be there at the same bat channel, same bat time, and let people get used to that time slot, or at least that day, so they can anticipate and tell other people about it. But if you're not there, I'm always kicking myself in the butt. If you're not there and they tune in, or they expect to see something or hear something, and you're not there,
right.
So then you get guys like Dan Carlin, history. Oh, come on, history. Not the History Channel. It's Hardcore History.
Okay.
And he's got one of the best podcasts. Everybody will say his is one of the best podcasts ever.
Okay.
But he only posts like once every 3 months or so, or maybe it's 4.
Yeah.
Because he does so much research into his historical story.
Right.
And it just takes a long time for him to get one out. But when he gets one out, it's a home run every time.
Yeah.
So you got that end of it, And but anyway, yeah. So what were we talking about?
I've got I don't know, we rabbit trailed, but that's that's my podcast in its entirety. Is we start off on one topic, and then we'll rabbit trail, and we'll come back, and then we rabbit trail, and then we come back. There for a while we had a saying, it was a beer thought, because if you came up with something, just a squirrel moment, it was a beer thought.
Yeah.
So we but there's all kinds of there's a lot of podcasts that have been an inspiration that they're not even weekly, they're a monthly podcast, and it's stuff like that which would be great. And I made it, I think, 8 months where we were posting consistently every week, Thursday at 5 a.m. And then I moved, and I think I went radio silent for like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was hard to get back into it. It was one of those deals. It's like, do I want to continue this on because it's just going to be me? And there was a figuring out, is living the dream dead, or is it going to continue on? And so I finally said, forget it. I'm going to go into it wholehearted. Bought studio lighting, bought upgraded soundboard. I've invested quite a bit more into it, and it seems to be getting some attention and some growth. And I have my tens of listeners that come in and on the weekly. And
you're right. Hey, that's awesome. If you got tens, you've got a great podcast.
Yeah.
There's nothing to sneeze at there.
Well, and one of the great things that I've benefited from this was I have a half brother that lives in Kentucky, and the podcast started, and we hadn't spoken, and not because of anything bad, but just because there's a big age difference between us. And I think the last time we had talked, he was 7. So, I think I'm 10 years no, like 15 years older than him. So, but we hadn't really spoken a whole lot. Well, he saw the podcast, or his wife saw the podcast on social media, and he reached out to me, but because of the podcast. So we've talked every day since then. So that was one of those things. I'm like, if I didn't get anything else from the podcast, that was cool to me.
All right. That's awesome. What when I'm a huge podcast listener. I mean, I consume a lot of podcasts. What do you listen to? What do you like listening to, or would you recommend?
So
besides Living the Dream,
right? Yeah, obviously we'll recommend Living the Dream, the Scott Townsend show, and so the Blue Collar BS podcast. That's a new addition to the rotation. The Briefing by Albert Mohler. I listened to that one. He's a daily podcaster, and he's always got news and events from a Christian worldview. So
yeah, what's it called? The Briefing?
Yes,
I think I know that one.
Yeah,
my brother told me about that one.
It's a really good podcast. It gives you the news it gives you the news and events from a Christian worldview.
Yeah,
and it's just a really good source of news in that respect. And it's just 30 minutes or whatever. So that's usually my into work podcast that I listen to.
Oh yeah, okay.
Let's see, the Daily Wire. I listen to Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh. What's the other? I used to listen to another one, and I can't remember his name right now, so forgive me on that one. And then there's Smarter Every Day. The No Dumb Questions. That's what it is. Their podcast is No Dumb Questions, and that one is a great one too, because that's Destin Sadlin. He does Smarter Every Day on YouTube, which
okay.
I have an engineering background, and so I'm a bit white collar and a bit blue collar, so it kind of goes both ways.
I got No Stupid Questions on my rotation.
No Stupid Questions?
Yeah, by what is this? Hosted by what? Oh, Angela Duckworth and Mike Megan. Okay, so it's not the same thing.
Yeah, but
it's probably similar. Okay,
right.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then you've got let's see, then Mike Rose. I listen to his sometimes. He was kind of a big inspiration for all of this too. That was kind of, I think, our thoughts on this. It's the audio. It was intended to just be like the audio version of Dirty Jobs, and we just talked about the blue collar jobs, and then we've moved into video and so on and so forth. But
right,
Mike Rowe, if you want to hit us up, I wouldn't be sad. As a matter of fact, I'd probably pass out. But
what's the biggest thing you've learned about yourself on this year and a half podcasting journey, blue collar podcasting journey?
I've learned that, one, that this can be a big tool for almost a journaling aspect of being able to, this is where I'm at in my life, and that's one of the things that has helped. I've also learned that I'm not as good a speaker as I thought I was when I started this. Sometimes it's rough listening to the recording. I'm going, oh Lord, that was terrible.
Yeah,
but
been there.
I'd say the biggest takeaway from this year was learning that like we were talking about, the consistency is very difficult to do. And we've, this is, podcasting is a labor of love. If you don't have an already well-known name, this is a labor of love.
Yeah. And when you're consistent, when you show up week in, week out, or every 2 weeks, whatever, you just got to be okay with sometimes it's just not going to go well.
Yeah.
You do your best, but sometimes, but you can't let that slow you down. You just gotta stay on your game and keep doing it, and it gets better. But then some weeks it's just gonna bomb, and I keep reminding myself that, because if I think about that, I let it slow me down. But I have a lot of great episodes out there, but I've also got some ones that I just. But that's what you got to do, man.
Yeah.
Not everyone can be a winner, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever a winner is.
Not all going to be a rock star.
Yeah.
I another thing I learned is just quit looking at the analytics. Just go.
Mhm.
Just
Right.
put it out there. If it's something, if the content if you're passionate about the content, just put it out there.
Right. That's really good advice.
So it's not always about the numbers. And if you continue, I believe, but I don't have any proof of this yet, but I believe that if you stay consistent and you get the content out there, the numbers will come.
Hmm.
And that's what I just keep telling myself. And it'll be, and it's fun. I enjoy
Yeah.
the sitting down here. I've had some episodes. I've had my dad on the podcast to where we've talked about his career.
Hmm.
I've had coworkers that I've had on here that we've talked about their careers. I've started some controversy on union versus non-union, brother.
Oh, great.
You want to stir this pot?
Yeah.
Have you an episode on there? And
Yeah. No, I love that.
yeah, that was probably the biggest on the social media side. That was probably one of our biggest episodes.
Mm.
Is my biological father is a retired union pipe fitter, and we had him. That was our first phone in podcast. That was that was a milestone for us.
Yeah.
And he was on there and talked about his experience in the union, and he gave a really neutral stance on it. And that was actually surprising for me, because I figured he was, pro union, because
Right.
family prior to me has been. Not that I'm saying I'm not pro union. I'm just saying I'm not in a union. So, so he gave a really neutral stance on it, and golly, did that piss people off. It was really surprising. So it's just been interesting, the interactions, and seeing the reactions to some of the content that we've put out. And that's probably been one of the most enjoyable things for me. Is I'm a people person, so seeing that reaction and getting that feedback is one of the things that I enjoy. If I could get more people to comment and stuff like that, that would I think would be fun too. Because
be careful what you wish for.
Hey, I love a good keyboard warrior. Let's go.
What challenges have you faced in getting started with your podcast? This might be a good chance to encourage other new creators listening to the show.
Well, moving out here, internet. Holy crap. Finding quality internet, because I'm not close enough to town to get good internet. So
what'd you do?
So I'm on, I have, I'm trying to think of what it is. So it's stationary wireless. So it's a radio transmitter that bounces off a big tower. And I was real close to going to Starlink, because it was getting inconsistent and it never failed. They were down or doing repairs when I'm trying to upload. So,
oh man,
that's been my biggest hurdle, is just being able to stink and upload. But they're running fiber optic in front of my house right now.
All right.
I am excited. So internet will not be a hurdle any longer.
Yeah, that's awesome. Fiber optics. So, how do you living the dream? How do you know if it has been or will be successful? What's the metric? what, or is there a metric?
I'll be honest with you that this started off as no expectations for the podcast whatsoever. It was intended for three friends sitting around and
No, I
discussing
love it.
years and maybe just sharing a little bit of knowledge and maybe talking about some perspectives in the blue collar community that other people don't talk about. The toll it takes on your body. Like, yeah, in the community, yeah, we're always like, oh, my back hurts, my knees are gone, my shoulders, toes, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. That's something that we don't talk about. We also don't talk about some of the emotional strain that our careers put on our families. That's a lot of things that nobody really talks about in the blue collar community, because it's just, we're out here making money. Sometimes out here making money is 16, 18-hour days.
Yeah.
And that puts a strain on the family. So,
Mhm.
It's stuff like that we've talked about. It's
That sounds like a good topic. No, it sounds like several
that's
good
actually
topics.
that may be maybe one in the next episodes.
Yeah.
And what's funny is I have a wife that is in the blue collar community as well. She's a maintenance technician for a local company.
Oh, okay.
So we've got two perspectives, which I'm going to go ahead and we'll tease this one.
Mhm.
That I think we're either going to do a segment to where it's maybe once a month that her and I do an episode together
Mhm.
and kind of talk about women in the blue collar world.
Mhm.
Because that's becoming more and more of a thing.
You're right.
My daughter is in automotive VOTech right now. So she's moving into a quote unquote man's field. And so that's a coming episode or segment, or maybe a separate podcast. I don't know just
Mhm.
yet. It all depends on how it goes. It'll probably just be a segment on living the dream moving forward.
Right.
Until if it really takes off, then maybe it'll become its own thing. I don't know. The
I
listeners
think the whole subject of blue collar is interesting because colleges are just not cutting it anymore, and they haven't for quite a while. And so they're
more of an
cranking out these
indoctrination camp
students.
than they have anything.
Huh?
They've become more of an indoctrination camp than they have an education facility.
Right. And then they turn these kids loose with debt up to their eyeballs in debt, and then they can't get a job in the degree that they majored in, and so they're saddled with this debt, and they might even have to declare bankruptcy, but even bankruptcy doesn't clear you from the college debt.
No,
So they're just hung out to dry after this 4 years, 6 years, whatever. The blue collar work is great.
Yeah.
You can go.
Why I stayed in the blue collar field, because I went through school. When I got out of school, I couldn't make enough money with the degree to pay the student loans. So I kept working in the factories, which is what I did through college, because I can make more money.
Yeah. So there you go. And then, kids, I say kids, I would, wholeheartedly recommend they go to a VOTech or something and learn something, some trade of some sort, because you can almost go to work immediately after you, do you get a degree, or do you get, after you get through with your training?
Yeah. Most of the trade schools actually offer a job shadowing. If it's a 2-year program, they offer a job shadowing for the first year. And then the second year they do job placement. So if you're top of your class, then they will help you find a job.
Yeah. So that's just amazing.
Yeah.
And I got a friend of mine, he's 22 years old, and he's studying to be a lineman and climbing poles and, doing all that kind of stuff. And he's absolutely loving it and driving those big rigs. And he's setting up. He's getting set up. I mean, he's already got an internship lined out. And then when he gets through with that, he'll be knocking down some pretty big bucks.
Oh yeah.
And then, so I mean, a good electrician, go try to find one, a plumber, finish carpenter. You hear a roofer, you hear horror stories of people trying to find someone to come fix something, but you can't get anybody because they're all booked up and there's nobody else to do it. And you have to wait 6 months to get them to come to your place.
Yep.
There's a huge market for it. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm all in. I'm bought in.
Yeah, the that was another thing too, is we, we were trying to talk about some of the benefits of the blue collar community, because I had the two other younger generation, the 20 somethings
Mm-hmm.
that were coming into the blue collar community. So it was, we were also trying to promote the blue collar community, because
Mm-hmm.
there's a job shortage, or there's not a job shortage, there's a demand for the jobs. There's just not enough people to fill those jobs.
Right.
But I really feel like that the Gen Zs, like that aspect of it, is fixing to shift a lot of that. There's been enough of the millennials and stuff like that that have pushed for the blue collar growth, for the trades, that we're like going, hey, there's people are retiring and we don't have people to fill it. So we've seen it and lived it.
People are running scared right now about AI and AI taking jobs, and Hollywood, the creators, the writers, they're all, and maybe rightfully so, because it's doing a pretty good job of coming up with stuff. And so who knows how that's going to happen. But
well, some of the movies they've been putting out lately, I think AI could have done better anyhow.
But I think I don't see AI fixing your electric. I don't see AI fixing your toilet or installing a whatever,
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good security for a while. When
Absolutely.
everybody else is running scared from this new AI stuff.
Yeah.
I think anybody
come to the blue collar community, AI can't touch us.
Yeah, it's not going to get dirty. And
exactly.
you gotta love getting dirty and stuff, but you also gotta love making money, because you will be making money getting dirty. So I don't have a problem with that.
If you look at it in just the comparison, like we were talking about, you come out of college with a degree and you're saddled with all of this debt. So the average college student comes out with somewhere to $30,000-$40,000 worth of debt,
at least.
And then, yeah, like I said, that's average $30,000 to $40,000 in debt. And then you get your average blue collar guy. You can go to Votech. You could go to like OSU Okmulgee or something like that. Not sponsored, but here they go. And you come out of there with $25,000 in debt. But you're going to be making $60,000-$70,000 a year, and it's not going to be hard to pay that off, especially because you're just starting out. You don't have a whole lot of other debt, so you pay that sucker off, and then 5 years from now, you've got a solid career that's not going to go anywhere, and you don't have debt.
And you could be having your own business, people working for you, apprenticing under you.
Oh yeah.
Just you can make it as big as you want to make it.
Yeah. My daughter asked me when she had thought about going into the automotive Votech, she asked me, she goes, what do you think about it? I said, you'll never be without a job.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that's the truth, because whether you're working for a company or for yourself, you'll always be able to have income. So I was like, I'm 100% for it. I actually have told both of my kids, I've got an older son, he's turned 21 this year. Holy cow. I told both of them, I will 100% support you and would happily pay for your trade school. I won't pay for college. So that's just me and my perspective on it. So, but because I believe that, you can get your degree in underwater basket weaving and have $60,000 in debt, or you can have 20 and have a career that'll last a lifetime.
Right. Have you ever heard of Ken Rusk?
I have not.
So, found out about Ken through can't remember how I came up, but anyway, so he wrote this book, Blue Collar Cash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a ditch digger. He was originally a ditch digger. Now he owns several companies worth millions of dollars, and he's all about Votech. He's all about the blue collar. It's a great read. I've had him on twice. on the
Okay.
show, and he's up in Minnesota or something like that. But
Okay.
anyway, he's super big on blue collar and helping people reach their dreams through blue collar work, whether it's through his company or just trying to help a
Right.
kid get a leg up in the world.
Yeah.
So I'd recommend reading Blue Collar Cash. It's he's got a
Okay.
good take on it.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely have to check that out. Maybe we'll do some exchanging of contact information because I think that would be great to have him on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
If someone listening wanted to start their own podcast, what advice would you give them? What would you tell them to do?
And you don't have to have, with the cell phones that we have nowadays, you don't have to have this. You don't have to have this. You don't have to have the camera that I'm staring at. You don't have to have any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is the day and age. If you want to have a podcast, you have an entire studio right here in your hand all day.
Which is pretty amazing.
You can do the editing, you can do everything on this device. So, and it's astonishing. I don't have the skill set to do it on that. That's why I have the mixer, the microphones,
right,
computer.
Yeah, well, you have experience with it.
Right. And so that's the way I know how to do it. But with, don't hesitate, man. Just get out there, put your AirPods in, and you've got a microphone and a camera right there in front of you. You can have your own podcast.
Yeah, the barrier to entry is non-existent anymore.
No. Yeah, there's nothing is stopping you except for yourself.
Right. Well, any last words, any thoughts on your podcast journey? What are you looking forward to? What's coming up? You mentioned you and your wife and your daughter maybe doing some shows.
Mm-hmm. So I'm excited about the podcast and the future for living the dream. It's also, it has promoted a lot of connections, like with finding Scott here. And I look forward to where it goes from here. It's really kind of finally started to get some traction, I feel like, and people are noticing and wanting to be a part of it. So just stay tuned, because I think if I can get my consistency straight, then I think there'll be some big changes and some good growth coming down the pipe.
Back to consistency just for a second. You think, well, I'll just do it once a week, and that doesn't sound like a hard thing to do. Man, that's tough. I'm going to tell you right now. For those of you starting out thinking you're going to start a weekly podcast, all right, okay, I'm with you, but just know that's a lot harder than it sounds.
Yeah,
you might want to go for every 2 weeks, or maybe once a month, and try that out, and then bump it up if you're feeling froggy, but
working 60 to 80 hours a week and trying to edit a podcast and record a podcast has proved to be very challenging.
Oh man, to say the least. Well, for those who are interested in getting in touch with you, where do they go to find out about you and your podcast?
So we're on YouTube as Living the Dream. You've got to look for have to look for the logo. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Patreon. That's where you get all of the behind the scenes and the good juicy little nuggets that may not be aired publicly. That way, if you're paying for it, you can't blame me for it. So let's see. So I got Facebook, YouTube, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Spotify. We also do the video. We do video and an audio upload. I think it's a video upload on Spotify as well, because they just started doing that recently. But yeah, look us up. We're on LinkedIn as well. That was how I found a lot of my guests. So yeah, so look us up everywhere. It's Living the Dream. It's no G, just living. I wish I could remember the actor's name, but that's one of the things that I wanted to do a soundbite where he does that LIVIN, baby.
Sounds like Matthew McConaughey.
That's probably it. That's it. I think that's who it is. So,
All right. So your email address, livingthedream24@gmail.com.
It's living the dream podcast 24@gmail.com because like I said, had we done some market research on Living the Dream, we probably wouldn't have went with that name. But it was difficult getting an email. But yeah, it's Living the Dream, no G again, podcast 24@gmail.com. Drop me an email if you want to be on the show. I'd love to have you.
And so we'll put all those links in the show notes below for everybody. So, all right, man. Well, I appreciate your time. Thanks for being here. And it was a good conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Yeah, me as well. Thank you, sir.
So for Mr. DeWitt, this is Scott Townsend. Thanks for listening to the Scott Townsend Show. Have a great day. Everything's going to be all right. And we'll talk to you later.
The Scott Townsend Show is a Dietzo Man production. For more episodes, visit the Scott Townsend Show YouTube channel, listen on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.